why don't we will go ahead and get kicked off. I'd like to welcome everybody to the GTI Gdot webinar series. Today, we have the privilege of having Brendan Rooney, who is going to be talking to us about the research projects and the final report guidelines. Now, Brendan is a program manager in the Office of Performance-Based Management and Research. Brendan works very hard to help make our research look good. And recently, Brendan and the others at Gdot have been working behind the scenes, and they've been updating the final report guidelines and the guidance. So he is today going to sort of talk to us about that and let us know what's there and how to kind of make these work as well as possible to help get consistency in what we're all doing. Just as a quick administrative piece, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. Given the number of people here, we're going to handle questions through the chat instead of through the mic. And when Brendan is done with his presentation, I will go ahead and sort of ask the questions and give Brendan an opportunity to respond. And also, we will make a recording of this presentation available on the GTI website as soon as we get it downloaded, so you can go back and reference this later. So with that, Brendan, thank you again so much for agreeing to do this presentation. We're all looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you're going to say. So the show is yours.
Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brendan Rooney of the Georgia DOT. Today, I will be discussing guidelines for preparing a final report for a research project. The final report is one of the key deliverables of a research project. Therefore, these guidelines aim to provide instructions on preparing a well-written final report that is compliant with Georgia Department of Transportation and Federal Highway Administration requirements. So today, the points of discussion that will on the final report guidelines are the guidelines for preparation of research project reports document. And in that document for a final report is part 1, general information, and part 3, final reports. I will be discussing the essential final report elements and provide examples of particular sections of a final report. Final report guidelines. Where can I find them? Well, they are posted on the Georgia Department of Transportation website, as well as the Georgia Transportation Institute website, GTI. Let's look at the GTI website. So we're going to take a look right here. Once this website opens, you go here and you select research and then working with Gdot. And then under that is Gdot forms and guidelines. And once you select that, then the guidelines for preparation of research project reports tab here, and it will actually open up the full document for your reference. So that's how to find it on GTI's site. And you can also go to Georgia DOT site. So guidelines for preparation of research report covers reports like interim or phase-based reports, quarterly progress reports, and final reports. However, today we will now discuss the final report guidelines from this document. There are 2 parts pertaining to final reports. Part 1, general information, and Part 2 gives final report details. In the Part 1, general information, the section reads, which you can see here to the right, this is it. The final reports are mandatory for all research projects. They contain comprehensive information such as research need, methodology, activities, findings, conclusion, and recommendations throughout the entire project period. Please refer to Part 3 of this document for more details on the preparation of final reports. The final report is one of the key deliverables of a research project. Therefore, these guidelines aim to provide instructions on preparing a well-written final report that is compliant with Georgia DOT and Federal Highway Administration requirements. The Part 3 final reports provides guidance relating to report format and various elements of the report as shown in the picture. It is most likely referenced from the Federal Highway Administration Research Publication Development Tools website in Chapter 5, Preparing and Research Report of the Turner Fairbank Highway Research Center Communication Reference Guide. Any items not covered herein are left to the discretion of the writer. The Office of Performance-Based Management and Research can be contacted for further guidance. If you click on the FHWA's research publication website, you will get the following. So here it is. When you click on this, it takes you to this web page. So I'm gonna walk you through right quick. So here it is. The web page has come up. And now if you see here, they shorten Turner Fairbank Highway Research Center to these initials, Communication Reference Guide. When you click on this, it brings you to this page. You can go through and read it on this page, or you can click on the PDF version, which is the full document, which comes in very handy as you're working on your report. And a lot of the requirements that I'm going through actually come straight out of the CRG, so feel free to read through that. So Part 3, final reports. It consists of final reports. Final report. This consists of A, contents and format, and B, report, submittal, review, approval, printing, and distribution. So let's talk about A, contents and format. This table details the main contents of a research report. It has covers, front matter, body of the report, back matter, and back covers. The cover section consists of the Gdot front cover page and the technical report documentation page. I will go over each of these exhibits in more detail in a moment. The front matter consists of the title page, preference. Note that the asterisk means this is optional. The metric conversion chart, the table of contents, the list of figures, the list of tables, the list of abbreviations and symbols, which is optional. The body of the report has the executive summary, the introduction, the main text separated into chapters, the conclusion, and the recommendations, which is optional. And then the back matter has the appendices, which is optional, the glossary, which is optional, the acknowledgments, which is optional, the references, the bibliography, which is optional, and the index, which is optional. And then finally, the back cover of the Gdot final report is left blank. Now for Gdot, we use double spacing for the body of the report and back matter. There are some examples provided for the appendices and references, and we'll be going over that in a few minutes. Use 12-point Times New Roman font for both headings and text for the front matter, the body of the report, and back matter. However, use the metric conversion chart as provided in Exhibit E, which we will be going over in just a moment. Use hyperlinks for the table of contents, the list of figures, the list of tables, and tables, figures, sections, and references mentioned in the body of the report. Please refer to the Communication Reference Guide, which many times I call the CRG, for any other details. Okay, yes. Also, please refer to the Communication Reference Guide, Chapter 5. Okay. Also, please note that the CRG pagination requirements specifies for the technical report documentation page to be unnumbered. But it is Roman numeral page I, but it's unnumbered. The front matter, okay? So the front cover has no page number. This documentation page is page I, but there's no number on it. So the first page to actually have a page number on it is the title page, and it's Roman numeral II going forward, okay? Then start numbering with Arabic number 1 at the executive summary. So from the title page, which is page II, up until the list of abbreviation symbols, that's all lowercase Roman numerals. Then from the executive summary until the end of the document, it is Arabic numbers. Do not number appendix pages such as A-1 or B-1. That's not allowed. Please note that on the technical report documentation page to include the front matter. Therefore, the Roman numerals plus the Arabic numbers add up for the total number of pages in the technical report documentation page. So the front cover and the back cover, they're not included, but all the other pages are included for that block 21. The page number should be centered a ½ inch up from the bottom edge of each page and should stand alone with no dash on either side of the number. Page numbers are centered for consistent appearance in printing. Specifically, focus on front matter, use lowercase Roman numerals. Body of the report through the last page of the report, use only one series of Arabic numbers. So part 3, final reports. Be going over the B section, report submittal, review, approval, printing, and distribution. Submittal. A draft version of the final report is submitted 3 months before the project end date to the OPMR research, other relevant Gdot offices, and subject matter experts for their review. The final report must be edited by a professional text editor to ensure its compliance with these guidelines before submittal. The project principal investigator will be required to demonstrate that this editing has been performed. Submittal of drafts must be electronic via email or file sharing service or device, although reviewers might request hard copies for review. Final reports must be submitted both electronically and hard copies identical to the electronic version. Hence, they must be printed in color with high quality resolution and contrast, if that's how it looks in the digital. Review. The review process normally takes 3 months. The project manager and the technical implementation manager are the primary reviewers of the report. Optional reviewers or any interested person or subject matter expert could offer further insight into the report quality. It's recommended that the draft report be first reviewed by the technical implementation manager or the subject matter expert from the end-using Gdot office for which the research project was conducted. This ensures that the report addresses all of the technical requirements laid out in the contract. Their feedback will be discussed with the principal investigator in written format. In other words, email or comments on the electronic and or hard copy of the draft. The project manager will continue their review progress after the feedback from the end-using office has been addressed. Discussion and revision will continue until all parties agree that the report is now complete and no further revision is necessary. Approval. The approval of a report and acceptance for its publication are provided in an email or letter transmitting review comments to the researcher. Printing. The project contract indicates the printing responsibilities, procedures, format, and number of hard copies of the approved final report. Also, the principal investigator will submit the electronic version of the approved finalized report via email or file sharing service/device like a flash drive or CD. Archiving and distribution. The archiving and distribution of the reports follow Georgia Department of Transportation protocols. So Exhibit B, final report cover page. This page is all Times New Roman. The Georgia DOT Research Project XX-YY and the final report lines are font size 16. The research project title line is font size 20. Gdot's most current logo must be shown, which is this right here. The office title line is font 16, and all the font on the whole page is Times New Roman. The address and month are font size 14. Please note whether the lines are all caps or mixed caps and lowercase. The border line is a thicker dark line on the outside and thinner line on the inside. Exhibit C. This is the Federal Highway Administration's Form 1700.7 Technical Report Documentation page. One page is the recommended length. This page has many fields to complete. I would like to highlight a few details. Before I turn the page, please note the only items that are highlighted is Technical Report Documentation page and the form number here in the lower left-hand corner. The rest of the page is just normal, no highlight, and all the lines are normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each set of instructions, and then I'll show a quick example, which the instructions and the examples are provided in the guidelines. So field number 1, right here, report number. This is the FHWA, well, for the report number is FHWA dash, then GA for Georgia, dash the last 2 digits of the calendar year, and then the 4 digits of the project number. For the instructions page, we actually were just using an old report. The calendar year was 2014, so they put a 14, and the project number was 12-07, so it was 1207. So this is an example of what it would look like. Field 2, government acquisition number, and field 3, recipient's catalog number, or for Gdot reports are both labeled NA, not applicable. For field 4, the title and subtitle, this is where the title of the report goes. Field 5 is the report date, is the date of the report with a month and year. Example is June 2014. And then field 6 is a performance organization code. For Gdot final reports, this is not applicable. For field 7, authors. This is a list of the report's authors. I'm sorry, just a moment. Okay, so the authors enter an ORCID ID, which stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID number when available. ORCID strives to enable transparent and trustworthy connections between researchers, their contributions, and their affiliations by providing a unique, persistent identifier for individuals to use as they engage in research, scholarship, and innovation activities. Then we have field 8, performing organization report number. And in this field, we're required to show the research project number. In this case, it would be 12-07. Field 9, performing organization name and address. This is the name of the university with their address. Field 10, work unit number. For Gdot reports, this is NA, not applicable. Field 11, this should show the Gdot project identification number. The principal investigator can get the project identification number from their project manager. Let's see, field 12, sponsoring agency name and address. Is Gdot's Office of Performance-Based Management. And when putting Gdot's address here, it should be noted that it needs to show the type of funding. Most of our projects are SPR funding, but if you have any questions, you can always reach out to your project manager. Field 13, the type of report and period covered. In this case, this is a final report. So as an example, they put final report, and then in parentheses, they put the period, June 2012 to June of 2014. And finally, field number 14, sponsoring agency code. For Gdot reports, this field's not applicable, NA. So this is the exhibit G, which is in our guidelines, as the example. And you'll see this is the report number, FHWA-GA-21-1810. And then you have the report date, title. Whoops, I'm sorry. I didn't know that would move the page. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we go. And so as you can see, when they put Georgia Southern in this one, they put their department and then the address. Here for Georgia Department of Transportation, then we showed the type of funds, SPR, then our office and our address. Number 11, contracting grant number. I was talking about the PI number. They have already put the PI number in this box, which they had obtained for their project manager. This was a final report and showed the dates of December 2018 through June 2021. Oh, cool. I love it. Okay. All right. So now for the rest of the report. Field 15, supplementary notes. The standard note in this field is conducted in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration. So this is the main note to go in field 15. Field 16, abstract. This is a brief summary of the research project. Field 17, keywords. This is keywords pertaining to this project. Field 18, distribution statement. Our standard note or statement is no restrictions. Field 19 and field which security classification and field 20 security classification. Both of those for Gdot reports are listed or shown as unclassified. Field 21 is the number of pages of the report. This is all pages. It does not include the front cover and the back cover. And then the price is listed as free. So once again, this is Exhibit G, the example. You can see in the supplementary notes, prepared in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration. Then they have a summary here of their project with some keywords, no restriction, unclassified, unclassified, the total number of pages, and price is free. All right, the title page, Exhibit D. The Gdot research number should be shown. On here it says XX-YY, that would be like 12-07, because that's an example we've been using. Font on this page is all Times New Roman, that is font size 12. Please note, however, either all caps or mixed caps in lowercase. The name and title is for the report authors. This is for the authors. If there are more than one, then all will need to be listed. The name of the contractor, which is listed here, this is whoever this project was contracted with. So for an example, if this project was contracted with ABC University Research and Service Foundation, then this would read ABC University Research and Service Foundation. So you have to look back at your contract and see who your particular project was contracted with. That's the name of the contractor. The month and year, once again, should be put on here. And please include this standard language right here that states the contents of this report reflect the views of the author or authors who is or are responsible for the facts and the accuracy of the data presented herein. The contents do not necessarily reflect the official views or policies of the Georgia Department of Transportation or the Federal Highway Administration. The report does not constitute a standard, specification, or regulation. Now, obviously, when you put this standard language on your title page, it's either going to have an S or not have an S, and it's either going to say is or are. So you just want to make sure you don't throw it in just like this. You want to adjust that for your particular report. And you want to make sure also views or policies, you want to make sure both of those, you want to make sure it's written just like this, is what I'm trying to say. Exhibit E, metric conversion chart. The Federal Highway Administration requires that all reports have this conversion factors chart. So please note the single line that's below the chart. That is also required. The single line just says that the SI is a symbol for the International Systems of Units. Appropriate rounding should be made to comply with Section 4 of ASTM E380, revised March 2003. So that's considered to be part of this conversion chart. Exhibit K, table of contents. So for the table of contents, 2 examples have been provided in our guidelines. They're exhibits K and L. So here's exhibit K. So please note, decimal numbers, hyphenated numbers, or numbers combined with letters for chapters, sections, or subsections should not be used as page numbers. Minimize the use of paragraph and subparagraph numbers. Only chapters are numbered. And you can see that here. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. But only the chapters are numbered. Specific examples, as I was just showing you here, Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Please note that sections or subsections are not numbered. Also, individual chapters, appendices, and so forth should not have title pages. Please look at the headings and the spacing. So if you notice, it's all double space until you get to the heading level of this far down, and all of a sudden now it's all single space. Then it returns back to double space. This is single space. So you want to make sure to look at that closely. This is Exhibit L, which is also table of contents that is acceptable. And you notice they did single space for each chapter, and then for the appendix references, well, you can see where they've double spaced and single spaced. So either of those examples are acceptable. So Exhibit F, list of figures, list of tables. Here's a great example of a list of figures and a list of tables. If the list of figures and the list of tables fit completely on one page, then they can be put on one page. Otherwise, they need to be listed separately. Please note how the figures and tables are formatted with a descriptive word in the figure format title, such as figure 15, period photo, period cascade of booklet cover examples, period. Or here you have like figure 21, period, screenshot, period, research report web page. This will need to be followed and is explained in detail in the Federal Highway CRG guide. Also for table of contents, you'll notice it says table 1, period, contents of a research report. So it'll need to be in the same style and format. This is an example of this is Exhibit G, and this is a list of abbreviations. So this is just as an example that you can use. And you see how everything is double spaced. All right, so in the appendices, this is our Exhibit H, and you'll notice it says here Appendix A. This could be typed as shown here. Now this has the standard font size 12 Times New Roman, and the wording is double spaced. For all appendices or appendix that are used, page numbers are continuous, and there's no cover page for appendices or an appendix. Once again, this is Exhibit H, and for this one, figures and tables can also be included in the appendices, as shown in this example that you see. Per the CRG guidelines, appendices can have text, figures, tables, and so forth. The font size is 12 Times New Roman. And as I mentioned earlier, the page numbers are continued as Arabic numbers, and the figure numbers are continuous. No cover page for the appendices or appendix. References. References could be listed by either numerical format or alphabetical format. Here is a numerical format example. This is our Appendix I. This shows single-spaced entries, but double-spaced between each entry. Here's our alphabetical format example. This shows, once again, single-spaced entries, but double-spaced between each entry. This is what I discussed earlier, just a quick review. Process summary. The draft final report is due 3 months before the end of the project. Gdot will review the draft final report. The investigator, principal investigator, will address all the Gdot comments. Gdot's acceptance is next. Once accepted, then the investigator will produce and submit the final report. All records or final reports are posted at the Gdot Roy A. Flint Memorial Digital Library. Now, Gdot has an electronic and paper copies available. So in our Memorial Library, we also have the paper copies available. And if you go to the Gdot website, you will find this particular icon. You click on that. Once you click on that icon, it comes up like this. And this is our library that you can search. Thank you for your attention today. As I have covered Gdot Research Project final report requirements and essential report elements. Every research project comes to a close, and a final report is generated as a final deliverable for each project. Are there any questions?
All right. Well, thank you very much, Brendan. That was fantastic. We greatly appreciate your presentation. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. I don't see any right now. But again, if anybody does, please go ahead and put them in. If not, you can also follow up with Brendan afterwards. Your email is, I don't actually see on the slide.
Oh, it's
sorry about that.
Yeah, B-Roney, B-R-O-N-E-Y at dot.ga.gov. So
please also feel free to reach out to Brendan with any questions you might have. Also, his presentation will be made available on the GTI website, so you can go back and see anything he had referenced. At the moment, I'm not seeing any questions, so I think we could probably close out unless another one comes in. I do want to really, again, thank you, Brendan. This is important. I know as a researcher, and I've had to do a number of these final reports. It's painful. Nobody's going to deny, right, that it could be sort of a painful adventure to get these put together, but it's critical, right? I mean,
yes,
our research has got to get out there. We need people to read it. If it's going to be used, we got to get it out and accessible. And if we're not meeting the FHWA guides, they're not going to publish it. They're not going to put it in their resources. So it's critical that we do this. And I know it takes a lot of time and effort on y'all's part to make this happen. So again, we're very appreciative. Thank you again for doing this. If anybody has questions, feel free to reach out to Brendan or anybody on the Gdot staff for that matter. And please. Otherwise, I think we are good for today. Brendan, do you have a final comment?
Please feel free to go look at these documents online. Take a look at them, and then if you have any questions or comments, or please just reach out and let us know. And thank you for having me today. So,
all right. Well, thank you again, and we look forward to chatting with more in the future. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brendan.